Hello, everyone. How are you? We've already got quite a few people in the chat. Tonight, this lovely Friday, we are here with Laurel Hightower and Brad's spirit animal.
And we're live. All right.
How are you guys?
Well, let's ask Laura because she is the special guest tonight. You don't want to know how I am.
I figured we were going across like Brady Bunch.
We were going
you were in the middle, so you were going to answer next.
How did I get in the middle? Was this pre-rearranged somehow?
Yes, Jan. It was prearranged. Be okay with it.
Nichi.
Listen, I do things. Sometimes things just happen, you know? That's just the way it goes. All right. How are you, Laurel?
I am great. I'm really good. It was a lovely kind of cool day here in Kentucky, which has not been normal lately. And I have my whiskey, which I really am not supposed to have. And I'm just going to because it's Friday.
You have to have it. Enjoy. Have a
Where's the bottle? Was it a new bottle?
It's over back behind there, just in case. It's not.
She's not showing us. It was a brand new bottle.
I'll show you. It's not a brand new. It is. It's not. Wait, where's the damn camera? Why am I so bad? It's this flipped camera. There it is. It's my Red Breast 12, which Ross Jeffrey's also a fan of, and it's. I highly recommend that for an Irish whiskey.
That's the second bottle for today when she knew she's going to be on the show tonight. So
because she had to deal with you. That's why.
I'm actually, if I'd even already had two glasses, I would be incoherent. I would just be like kind of snoring over there by the microphone.
Listen, you guys, how's it going? It's Friday night. Let's get this party going.
Let's reschedule this and make that happen.
It's already the longer it goes, the more kind of lushy my answers to your questions we're going to get. So just keep that in mind when you do your order here.
It's in the process. It's all right. I'm excited for that. We've got quite a few people already in the chat. We've got Jay. I don't know who this Jay person is.
Oh yeah, I forgot I put that in there. Yeah.
Jason Weird Reads is here. We've got Josh and Marcella.
Josh,
Christina,
thank you.
NW Reader is here. Melissa is here. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anyone. Sorry.
Thank you all so much. You're awesome.
Book Blather's here. Erica's here. Priscilla's here. Joe's here. Linda's here.
You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. This is great.
Alex is here. Tim is here.
Hey, Tim. I put your name in a story today, Tim. Just wanted you to know that. I did say whiskey.
Woo! That's right. Lost coming hand. Timmy's there if you say whiskey. We've got Hamlin here. Tim Myers here. We've got two Tims in the house.
So we should go ahead and tell you this is not really an interview. It's more of an intervention. So.
As long as you're not trying to get me to give up my whiskey. What else do you want me to give up? Stress?
Never.
Work?
Work.
I'm amenable to that. You're right. Okay. It is really interfering with my life. You're right.
We've got Heidi.
We're just saying that you write better with the whiskey. So.
Beard. It's well-read beard. That's right. Kentucky against all y'all. We'd probably win. We would probably win. And Christina, shout out to your. I hope that your toddler has digested his Doritos and is feeling a little bit less insane now.
Yeah, Jason says let's get rid of work.
Yes, agree. I concur.
Wait, who's got a pink cup? Oh, Jay's got a pink
cup.
I
do. I have that in every live. I always have my pink cup.
Nice. What's in the pink cup?
I have my pink cup.
but what's in it?
It's just water.
Oh, it's just water. Okay.
Yeah, it's water.
I don't mind being the only drinker. It's okay.
Lewis is here as well.
Hi.
All right. So we've got quite a few people in here. I don't think there's not one person in here, Laurel, that doesn't know who you are. But just in case, or for anyone that watches after the fact, do you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your work?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Laurel Hightower, and I am an extremely lucky writer. I have 2 books out, Whispers in the Dark and a novella, Crossroads, which is like super depressing. So if you're, feeling a little down, leave it for a while, read something cheerful. And I've been lucky enough to get some short stories published as well, which is a kind of a big point of pride, because I didn't know that I could write short fiction. So that's been cool. And I say that I'm very lucky because it really has been fantastic, finding this, this community and interacting with readers and with reviewers and things like that. And I know it sounds like a little bit trite, but it really is true. Nobody would have read my books. Nobody would have picked them up at all if it weren't for you guys, shouting about it and reading and writing. And even if you hate it and give me a 1-star review, we're still friends. It's cool. But other than that, I have a 3-year-old son and a husband and a rescue pit bull, and I'm a paralegal. I think I did that way out of order. I don't know. I don't know how to write a bio. I've just been copying, pasting the same one. I have to check and make sure it's still accurate.
I am not a robot.
I am not a robot. No, CAPTCHA. No, that's right.
Oh, shoot. I won't give my secrets away then. All right. So basically, you're one very busy lady, and yet you still have the time to write us these magnificent stories that we get to read. Yes, I somehow make the time, and sometimes I'm not sure how, but it actually really helps. I just went part-time with my job, which has been great, because it's given me a little bit more time in the morning to get some stuff written, and I have all these ideas and all these things that I want to finish and turn in. So excited about that.
So we have a future of a lot of work from you, right?
I hope so. Yeah. I'm in a really bizarre position where everyone else at my job just quit. So
what?
I'm the only, I work for attorneys. I work for fantastic attorneys. I just love to give that shout out. I absolutely really love the firm that I work for. And it just so happens we run kind of lean on staff, and there's 2 other assistants, and they both just quit. So I'm kind of eyeing my part-time status, like, don't take it away. Don't take it away. So we'll see. But, it's craziness. But, the thing is, I think that a lot of people reassess priorities after COVID and after the pandemic. And I think that everyone should do what's right for them. I think that's big. Yeah, I'm talking about my job. Oh my gosh, sorry.
No, it's good. It's true, right? Especially, that hit hard, and you get to sit back and maybe make some changes and attack your dream a little bit harder than you were before. So I'm going to cross my fingers for you.
Thank you. I hope so.
To cover those couple other people so that you don't have to
too.
go back full time.
Are you writing a COVID story?
Oh. It's not, COVID is not the centerpiece of it, but yeah,
Okay.
the novella that I have started working on, that I had gotten kind of far into, actually, I realized it kind of almost couldn't be excluded from it. It's definitely not the centerpiece. But it just affected our lives, and a lot of it affected like just the vulnerability of parenting.
Right.
During that. And I think a lot of us were, and people have varying levels of support. Where it's just us, just because, where everybody's placed, and there were a few very scary moments of like, you have this like small person that you're totally responsible for, and you don't have any safety nets. You're out and about, you're trying to keep them safe. And there's like all of a sudden all these, these potholes of terror that open up for you. So it was, it seemed impossible not to put that in there to a certain degree.
No, absolutely. That sounds brilliant, actually. You've
Thank
made
you.
me sold. Done. I'll buy it whenever it's ready.
Thank you.
It is very true. And, you see some people that are trying to make fun of the whole experience that we've all gone through. And some people are really kind of diving in deep like that. And I really like that. That sounds really good.
Well, her story is going to be worth reading, because I know there are a lot of COVID romance stories, or like space COVID stories that are, like 50
COVID erotica.
shades. Yeah, exactly.
That's my favorite, is the COVID erotica.
It's like 50 shades of COVID. Like, where did this come from?
Such a turn on. I can't even tell you.
Making out with COVID. How do you do that?
It started when they both were quarantined.
I think Jay's writing some type of erotica book around.
Hey, you were sworn to secrecy about that.
I think that's a great thing to pursue, honestly.
I got to be famous somehow. Come on.
Yeah, go for it. There's a reason it's popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I agree, Tim. We do need more Hightower in this world. Michael Clark Books is in the house now.
Hey, Mike.
COVID in space. Well, I mean,
COVID erotica in space. Has anybody made that?
That's
crossover. That's your genre. That's what you need to. That's what you need to claim. Make it yours.
You both are shit if next week I release a book like that. Like, what the hell?
I will buy it. Don't think I won't download it. Kissing the coronavirus. That's one. Yeah. That illustration on the front. Like what?
I heard a lot of people say that was great, and it was like only like 12 or 13 pages or something, and it was really quick read, and a lot of people were talking all about it.
Wait, that was real?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Was that was the one with like the green guy on the front, wasn't it? Like it was.
Yeah.
God bless somebody for putting that out there. It's just entertain us.
Oh man. Listen here, we've got the chat's getting pretty dirty.
Wait, are we late enough now? Make sure my kids are not watching.
Yeah.
Why else do they have an eggplant emoji? I mean, come on. It's got to be for that. I don't know what else that's for.
They're missing
that little
so many other ones.
That peach is obscene, you know?
By the way,
man.
Lewis Stevenson should be asleep. It's like 2 o'clock in the UK right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
2 or 3. I don't know what time. They're like 7,
It's
8.
5 hours. 5 hours ahead.
Is it?
Yeah, so.
I figure it's like Wednesday or something there. I don't know.
That's Australia.
Okay.
He knows where the party's at. What can we say? Your book Crossroads was written in such a way that when I read the words, I actually felt them, how to stir up the kind of magic in the story. And I'm not the only one who has said that. It is very, very true. It may be depressing, but it is beautiful.
It's very depressing.
It is beautiful.
Thank you, Heidi. I really appreciate that. Oh, look. Yeah. You got that.
Hold it up. I want
to
read it
I lost
forever.
the camera here. There we go.
There you go.
You ever read it?
I have. On audiobook.
Okay.
So I wanted to read it forever, and I couldn't get around to it, and I have it on my list still to go and buy a physical copy of it so that I have it on my shelves and put it in photos. But when I found out that it was on audio, I was just snagged, and I listened to it from the beginning to the end in one sitting. That was it. Doing dishes,
awesome.
Making dinner. It was fantastic.
Linda did an amazing job, didn't she? She's wonderful.
Oh my goodness. Can you tell us more of where the idea for Crossroads came from? Like really what stirred up that story?
Yeah. It was actually, it's probably the most straightforward thing I've ever written. It was green except for his hand. I don't know what color his hand was.
Now I'm going to have to look at that afterwards.
Yeah, we need to put that. You need to put that in the show
I have
notes.
to see this. I have to
yes.
I need to do a video on this. Okay. So I need to do a review.
Yes, you do.
Oh, that's too funny.
But yeah, it was just one of those things where, we have those roadside crosses like everyone does. And there's a stretch of road that I used to drive quite a bit. My sister lives several hours away down the Bluegrass Parkway. So we've, done that road a lot of times. And I was driving back with my husband and just noticed somebody at one of those roadside crosses. And I kind of thought about, the reason for people doing that. And there'd been like a little bit of, I'm sure it was just sort of clickbaity kerfuffle about people arguing as to whether they should be allowed, because are they more dangerous? Do people get distracted by seeing those sorts of things? But I just sort of thought, what it would mean and what it would feel like to kind of come visit at the place where somebody passed instead of, where they're buried. So it just kind of, and I think I actually saw somebody had put a shirt on one of them, and it just like at first glance, it made it look like there was like somebody halfway buried in the ground. And I have my son is 3. I think he was probably about 1 at the time. And I have a wonderful stepson who is 26. And so, he was driving and terrifying the hell out of us and all that kind of stuff, so I've been through those years with a male child, and it just kind of came from there. It just really, Chris's story just really spoke to me. I tend to write very character driven. The character comes first. So she was, just kind of all the rest of that drive back. I became one of those people where my husband's trying to talk to me. I'm like, shh, no, I'm making notes. Don't talk to me. It's writing time. So
this is where the magic happens. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I actually see I see a lot of those roadside memorials here in Columbus,
Yeah.
and I always wondered about them too. And then reading your book, I mean, it's like, yes, finally someone's writing about these, because I was always confused about them too. I'm like, why are you going to, do that, risk your life to? And then it all came together with the book. Yeah.
But it does kind of risk your life, right? Because you're
right.
pulled off on the highway,
right.
Being at the risk of the same vehicles that maybe caused this person's death. It's a different mindset, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I can agree. And Josh does say Laurel's character work is like no one else.
Thank
Love
you.
the authenticity and of her characters in both Whispers and Crossroads. I haven't been able to read Whispers yet. It is on the list.
You're staggering under these TBRs, though. I feel like they're gonna fall and crush us. Thank you, Josh.
I have the ebook.
Thank you very much.
I'll get to the ebook. I read Crossroads this year, and my whole excuse for waiting so long, I was afraid to read it. Like, I saw Brad review it, I saw Ross Jeffrey review it, Well Read Beard, everyone talked about it, and I was like, no, I'm afraid to read it because I got kids. I mean, and so I was afraid to read it, and they just kept saying you have to read it. And
you have to read it.
I think when did I read it? January, I want to say January, February, one of those months. But yeah, great.
Well, it's one of those things that I was actually a subject I was always afraid to write about, because there's a little part of me that's very superstitious and is like, don't say its name. Don't draw its attention. I don't want to write, about this particular subject, because I've definitely written in solutions to problems that didn't really happen in real life. I've rewritten something to make it better than it was. Yeah. So a little, there's no end to that sentence. It's just going to keep going.
Just take another drink. That's fine.
All right, everyone, drink. Here we go. No, it's true. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's like that. I always think if I'm reading something like this, or if I'm thinking something like that, what's the chance that maybe it will come true and be realistic and part of my life? So it's kind of terrifying, especially when it comes to your kids. That truly is like the parent's worst nightmare. Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is it happens and people go through it, right? So it is still a topic that needs to be talked about and brought up, and take notice for everyone that takes life for granted, for sure. Melissa says, my horror book club read Crossroads together in January. We're all heartbroken, but loved how heartbroken we were. Yes, that's a good way of putting that.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but like book clubs reading my book, like that's dream come true stuff for me. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you all for choosing it. I appreciate it.
Did it end up the way you planned, like the ending? Because when I read it and when I finished it, I think I had 4 or 5 different theories overall. Like, I could write a book about the theories I had on Crossroads. So did it end up that way, or how many changes did you make?
I didn't make any changes. I had a pretty clear, and I'm a big planner. I always outline. And so I had a loose scene plan of where I knew it was going to go, certain things I wanted to hit.
Right.
But I left the ending open. I think I even said in my notes, see where this goes or something, because I just knew that something would feel right. I knew that it was going to come down to this or that, and I waited to see what felt right with the story, and so I went with that. But yeah, that's prior to my outlining days, I used to write stories and not know what the ending was, but I also didn't know what the middle was or who the villain was, or things like that. And so it got very convoluted, but this was just one of these things that was pretty linear. And that's part of why I really like the novella. The novella format, I think, really allows you to just kind of travel down that one path and not get lost, as I usually do.
That was my next question. I mean, you planned for this to be a novella. It wasn't just a short story that got bigger or a novel that got smaller. It was a novella from the get-go. Okay. Yeah.
And actually, I remember, I can't remember who I talked to about it, because like I was talking to somebody about the idea, and I'd said it says it like, and I looked at my notes the other day and it said works best as a novella, and I remember saying that to somebody and them saying like, well, novellas don't sell, just expand it to a novel. And I'm like, no,
I think they sell.
Oh, they sell.
I think horror fans like novellas.
Yeah, and the indie scene is. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I would love to get, with like the big 5 or 4, however many we have going on now. you know, to have that budget and have that reach, it would be super cool. I'm not going to say I wouldn't, but the freedom that you have in the indie scene,
Right.
the accessibility, and I mean, the kind of this, I don't want to, sway is not the word I'm looking for, but the input that you get to have on certain things. I mean, you know, Samantha Kolyasnik, who probably gets really tired of hearing me sing her praises, but she's magnificent to work with. She's a brilliant writer and also just a fantastic publisher. And being able to just kind of communicate with her, you know, across the board about the cover and things like that, we're just really, I don't know, that's kind of priceless. I ended up with a product that was exactly what I wanted it to be.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you just sold a book here too, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Didn't know Whispers. Runs to go buy it. Yeah. I'll have
Pick up,
Nothing is, it's not, I'm always like afraid people are going to be disappointed. It's not the same thing at all. It's really, really different.
Pick up Weird Wolves also while you're at it.
Oh,
W Reader.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got, that was in the Abominable Book Club.
Yes, yeah.
And I got the month right after that. And I was like,
Oh,
no. Joe, if you want to read Crossroads, I know you drive a lot and you enjoy those audiobooks. It is on audio, on Audible, and it was fantastic. But you're going to want to go and buy a physical copy as well because you want to have that cover on hand.
Yeah, that's why it's on my videos now. It's in my background. I don't know if you noticed, but I read it on ebook, but I was like, you know what? I need this in the background of my videos. Do you read the audio? Do you do the audio, Laurel?
Me? No, not really. It's, well, I know, like I should, but it's actually one of those things I don't have as much time to sit. When I read in these little snippets, you know, during the day, and like when my son might be doing something else, like if I've got him in the bath, I might like have my Kindle with me, but I can't like not listen to him because he'll, you know, end up launching a nuclear missile. So you don't want me distracted. But yeah, but I mean, I've been so thrilled with the audiobook on that. Just, I don't know. I listened to a few different audition tapes or whatever. And there were so many good auditions, but Linda just nailed the tone. It felt like Chris, it felt like her world the second, you know, she started speaking. So
you got to pick the person?
No,
okay,
no,
okay.
I didn't pick, but I did.
You got some input.
Yeah, I gave some input, and yeah, and Joe was also really, really good to work with Fireside Horror, and just, I mean, we just won the Independent Audio Awards horror for Crossroads, and that was just like mind blowing.
I didn't know that. Congratulations! Thank
you. I was really kind of crazy. I was just like, oh, I'm a newcomer. You know, there's no way, you know, that this is gonna happen. But I'm also one of these people that's always like preparing myself for like disappointment. But when they started to announce the category, I'm watching it by myself because my husband put my son to bed, and I was like, fuck it. I want it. Give it. Say Crossroads. Say it. And then they did, and I was like, oh, did I do that? That's awesome.
Look at that power.
Am I allowed to say fuck? Sorry.
Oh,
I forgot
yeah,
to.
no.
I think, okay. Just checking. Sorry, I just left cast. My bad.
Just let it slip. Just let it go.
Okay, it does. Yeah, it's hard not to.
Once the kids are in bed, little ears are away. That's where parents get to have their words, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. So you just willed it to you, and it worked. You guys just talking about it, just sitting here listening to you. I want to go and listen to the audiobook all over again. Like right when we get off here tonight, I think I'm going to start listening to it again because it was fantastic. Michael does want to know any news about the next novel. SK does not stand for Stephen King.
Yeah, that's Silent Key. It's the eternal novel that I have been rewriting and writing and editing and whatever for years and years. But that is, I submitted to Tor Nightfire for their window, and so we'll just see. I don't know if it's something that's up their alley or not, but I finally felt like it was in a good enough space to submit it somewhere. I got some my media representation as Ryan Lewis of Spin a Black Yarn. And he is not only really, really good at the media side of things, but he gives just unbelievably good notes. He was able to really, really pare down very, very easily for me what was wrong with the version that I sent him and what needed to be done to up the pacing. And once he sent it to me, it was just like, you know, a light bulb, and I just like ripped it up and rewrote the whole thing. So yeah, it's, I hope, but again, it's me. I'm like, it's okay. You can say no. It's fine. I'm not expecting anything.
No, we're all going to cross our fingers for you, because that would be amazing. And if they say no, that's on them. Their loss, I guess.
Well, and also, I mean, I'm sure they were also inundated like ridiculously during that. So I'm excited to see what comes out of that window, no matter what.
So you were agreeing with the changes that they were requesting then, or?
Well, yeah. And Ryan wasn't really requesting like any changes from he didn't really request any. It's more that where he took on, you know, management of my media stuff, he wanted to see, you know, what I had kind of in the hopper. And he asked me what was important to me that I was working on. And I told it was Silent Keys. So he read it really quickly, given the length of it. And yeah, just gave some really, really good notes. He's stellar at that. He's a good dude.
So I think that's something that's different with indie and small press, where you have, you're able to do that. I mean, if this was, you know, I'm not trying to throw off on like a big publisher or anything, but you're not going to have that kind of control over it. You know, that true. Back and forth, that talking things out. It's just more like, okay, make these 100 changes and you go with it. So yeah. And having that creative control. Well, and I do a lot of developmental notes too for folks, just between beta reading and the anthologies that I've worked on. And it was one of the things that I don't think I made it very clear necessarily, because I was so used to, you know, just giving notes. But that's something that any writer should know, is that it is your story, you know. And so if someone gives you notes, anybody else, like if it's something that, you know, it's the story is what it is for you, you know, it comes from in here. And so how readers experience it is one thing, but you can really look at something and decide that that's not the ultimate product that I want. This is the story I need to tell. And it's your story, you know?
Oh, absolutely. When I've done some beta reading, and when I have, at the end of my notes, I always say, please keep in mind, this is my opinion, my notes, just thinking as, you know, like a general reader, not even what's necessarily preferred for me, just, you know, what you see and hear from other reviewers out there, what they may like, what they won't like. And I always say, but if you don't want to make any of these changes and you like what you have, it's your story, release it loud, be proud, and just hold the tone, because that's your baby right there. So we need a huge bell that I can ring, because every time a book is sold on one of these live shows,
just take a shot every time. Every time a book is sold, take a shot.
Yeah,
thanks for you very much.
We'll make a drinking game right now for you.
I don't need a game.
I know, really.
Oh, good. We have a bell. Did you just shake a cat?
Some Christmas bells.
I don't know if it was a collar or something, but thank you very much for picking up Whispers. I hope you enjoy it. It's fine if you don't.
Josh did say that he read it last year and it made his top 10 reads. And I think that's what really sold it for her, because she said it's bought. So that's really exciting.
Well, thank you, Josh. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, now I've got to go get it.
You just sold a book through social media, basically. You're on Twitter, Instagram. How do you like social media being involved with getting your stuff out there? I mean, marketing. I just don't think this day and age you could do without it, but sometimes it can backfire. I already say Twitter is evil. That's just me. But what are your thoughts on the whole social media and having to do that with the indie and small press, trying to get those out?
I can. It is definitely a double-edged sword. I mean, I'll say out of the gate that I would not have sold Crossroads without social media. I wouldn't have known, about Samantha or her press. I wouldn't have known where to submit, and I would not have the access to marketing that I do, that I can do for myself. And in some ways it's really great, because I market, and I don't want to say that it's marketing, because it's not. I very rarely say, like, here's my book, please purchase it. Right. In fact, I think I only ever do that like when the first link is posted, then I'll say, here it is. It's much easier for me to talk about other people's books, or, and I definitely, I'm not totally altruistic. I retweet wonderful reviews that people give, and, exciting things that happen and all that kind of thing. But it's very rare that I'm just like, here's a list of things that you can buy from me. But it's really just, a lot of it is just the communication. It's getting to know people, which is great. Some of the very best friends, and I mean, I don't care if we've never met in person. I feel very close to these folks, and they're people that I can count on, and that I can message when something really goes wrong, and be super supportive. So I think that is a fantastic aspect, in particular during the pandemic, when, it was not an easy quarantine for me, because I had a small child at home and no daycare, and I was still working full time. It was pretty stressful. But the people that I always sort of like worried about were the ones who ended up quarantined alone.
Right.
Because that it's missing out on that human interaction altogether, and maybe not by choice. I'm glad that there was that way for people to reach out to one another, to keep those human connections, which are so necessary. But Jay, I'm with you in particular, man. Some of the stuff that has happened recently, I think it's good that there are some conversations that are happening right now, surrounding things like, what happened to Isabel Fall with respect to her story. I identify as an attack. My sexual identify as an attack helicopter. I'm sure that I got that title wrong. Sorry, but
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it's an instance in which people who felt like they were doing the right thing dogpiled on something that, and it is crazy. I mean, it's so strange, because, I've dealt with some of that myself, as far as, and it's weird because you think it's just words, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just that, but it's in a computer. Like, can I just close the computer? Why does that bother me? These people have never met me, but it does. It can be just as bad as in-person bullying and harassment and things like that. And so, when I see people going through it, it's so, my heart just hurts so much for them, because I want to fix it. And sometimes it's two sides of the same coin, and both people are hurt. And, I don't know, I'm rambling now, except that Jamie, it's a good question, because
no, I get what you're saying, because it's almost like sending an email at work, and the other person on the other side interprets it wrong, because it's words right there for everyone to see, but how you interpret it might not be the way I put it out there.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is. And you're thinking it's worse, or maybe you're not thinking this is bad as it was supposed to be. So, I mean, it's all over the place. There's no emotion behind what's put out there, unless it's the actual words like F you, you suck, and all that stuff, Unless it's that blatant, you're never going to know what the background behind the actual original message is. So that's why I just think it's just, I get aggravated with it. I'm not even a writer. I can just imagine what writers who are dealing with it every day, try to get out there and have their stuff out there, what they have to go through, because they don't really know what the other person is really thinking when they're putting that message out there.
They don't. And, there's arguments back and forth and for and against. One of the things that I've really been like I am a big fan of therapists and therapy. And was very, very lucky that was already in with a really good one before all hell broke loose. But it's really been helpful, because it helps me to break down things in my own mind of, like, honestly, just stuff like paying attention to my instincts, and just listening to my feelings, and the way that I feel when I interact with certain people, or the way that what I do makes me feel, because, I have fucked up in my life a lot of times. I say this, I feel like sometimes people don't believe me, but I was always very, very socially awkward. I did not know how to talk to people. And in large part, it had to do with just not being able to be outside my own head and think about what they were experiencing. Like, I just sort of lived in my world, and I didn't always think about what they were experiencing. But the older I get, and raising a kid and things like that, it's like, I don't know, people, there's not going to be a good way there's not going to be like I keep, wishing I had like some great phrase or like some awesome, thing to say that would just solve everything for the whole world. And I can't, except that just to
I
say
totally made her get deep tonight.
Yeah.
I that wasn't my intentions, but.
Well, it's something I've been thinking about a lot. And I mean, you guys have kids, they go through a stage where you're helping them to learn emotions.
Yeah.
and it just sort of like brings it to the forefront for you, because like for me, like it's very important. I have a son, and I feel like toxic masculinity is a huge thing. I had an issue with the daycare he's no longer at. Among other things, they told, the boy children not to cry, which is a punchable offense in my case. I didn't punch them, but I thought about it.
I would have.
Right? I mean, I was tempted. But it's, assessing the validity of feelings and just making people understand that, like, hey, man, if I am hurt by this, like, sometimes people think that people are looking for a reason to be hurt or offended. I don't think that I agree with that necessarily, because it's like somebody can say something that makes you feel unwelcome in that space, and but I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan of legislating everything. I'm not a fan of making, a bunch of rules that maybe are not going to apply in every situation, but I want everyone to be okay.
Yeah. I think probably some of that too is being a parent. That changes your outlook on everything too. Like the way I've been the past 12 and a half years compared to before that, it's night and day. It's totally different. And you do look at things differently. You look at comments differently, and you try to present yourself differently too. So you get your point across. I think being a parent is part of that too. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. And stop attacking people. Somebody says something, right, whether they meant it to come across as awful or not, or whether it was, a human mistake. Us attacking people makes it no better, approaching it softly, or, like, right, what are we doing for all of our youth? Showing to, instead of try to make changes in the way we see things and do things in a positive light, we're showing people to attack a situation with negativity, and it's just, it's negative on both sides. We're not doing any better. We're not educating. We're not, and I worry, same thing about all of the youth, that they're going to start seeing this as being normal. Somebody says something on social media, and the first thing you go to is, well, I don't agree with what they say. I'm just going to attack. I'm just going to pounce. Right. So I just want to catch up here. We've got Megan that popped in.
Megan,
she's late.
Hey.
Whispers was the first horror novel that she ever bought. Look at her now.
Hey, Megan, we just got deep, by the way. So
we did. Yeah. We did. And I will
leave it to me to just throw like something out there just to bring it down. So
well, I will say, to kind of like to finish that off though, I do think a big part of it is though, like, women in particular are weirdly expected to ignore our instincts, and maybe accept apologies that we don't feel okay with, or right, things like that. And, without delving too deep in anything, I just think I support everyone feeling safe in this space, because the thing is that it is a space for everybody, and so, that's kind of what I support. But yes, Mike, who's going to Scares That Care? Good segue.
Wait, take a drink first.
Yeah. Yep, I'm going to Scares That Care at the end of July. I'm very excited to go.
Which is very exciting.
Yes, yeah, I'm super psyched.
Oh, Alex said he picked up We Are Wolves in his most recent Amazon binge. Looking forward to picking up your other works at Scares That Care. Well, I'm jealous.
Thank you.
I want to go. Who's going to buy me a plane ticket, please, so I can come?
Aren't you still banned from that? Never mind.
Listen, you saying I'm banned from coming into the U.S.? Is that what you're saying?
That last incident you had?
I think it goes the other way around, Jay.
Oh. Speaking of We Are Wolves, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
How did that whole project come together? That's just an amazing collection of stories. Yours seems to be the shortest in there, by the way.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, it was relatively short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was in a bit of a mood when I wrote it. That was just something that it was one of the first, probably the first two short stories I wrote was that, and one other one. So yeah, it was one of those things. So Gemma O'Moore, who is absolutely fantastic, had written just tweeted something about, the being told to smile in situations that were, not appropriate for that. And I asked the question on the thread. I was like, does anybody, remember the worst time they were asked that? And Jamie Dorn told their story, and I chickened out. I had asked it because I kind of wanted to tell mine. But I chickened out. And then I felt really bad about that because I feel like, and I don't think they felt that way. I don't think Jamie felt that way, but I felt almost as though I had like baited someone else to bare their soul. And then I hadn't had the bravery to do so. And it, it stuck with me, and it just sort of became that story. And so published that and just made it, freely available because it was one of those things I just, I don't know. I kind of just wanted to throw out there, And Gemma messaged me after she read it, and we just kind of were, there's, unfortunately, it seems kind of cyclical, but there were a lot of things kind of going on in the community and just in the world at large with women and victimization and things like that. And we just felt like we wanted to be doing something. We wanted to do something positive. We wanted to, to take action, and it felt really good. We did it invitation only because we're very tired. So, but there were like, we just eventually had to draw a line through it because there were so many fantastic, incredible female writers in this community. It's unbelievable. We are completely blessed. And I'm so happy because I was a reader long before I was a writer, and I'll probably be one long after. But yeah, it just came together. We worked with Sina Pleo with Burial Day Press, which is fantastic that they, took that on and just got the stories together and got it out there. And it's just something I don't know. That's probably the thing I'm most proud of from a publication standpoint at this stage, and just really appreciated the stories that we got from the authors that we asked. And it was just a positive experience all around.
Good.
Rightfully so. Absolutely. Sorry, I've got a question.
Go ahead, Nikki. I'm now jumping all over your routine there.
No, that's okay. I just was trying to catch up on the comments because they pop up on the screen, and I feel bad if we miss somebody, especially if they've asked a question, right? Heidi would like to know what your favorite horror movie is.
That's a great question. I would say Poltergeist from just a long-term standpoint of something I will watch every day if I can. I love Poltergeist.
I'm only laughing because that's the first movie we allowed my 12-year-old to watch.
Oh, really?
She was 11 when she watched it. She thought it was so lame.
Did she really?
Because okay, so I was 3 when the first Friday the 13th came out, and I watched it. I remember watching it. My parents in the room, my older brother. I was 3 and I watched it, but my wife's not going to allow me to do that with. We have 2 daughters, so I'm not allowed to do that. The most scary they can do is Goosebumps on Netflix. But my 12-year-old, she's wanting to watch some horror movies, and the first one we allowed her to watch, I think it was last year, was Poltergeist, and she thought it was so lame. And I was like, "What? It's a classic to me." And she thought it was so lame. I was just so embarrassed for my age. But go ahead.
I've had those experiences with our eldest, with my stepson. I've definitely had those, like. And I get it. Bo, what's up, Bo? Hey, long live dark side. I guess I can kind of see that because my husband's like 13 years older than me, and we've had those situations where like he's shown me something that's like from his generation. I've showed him something from mine, and we're just kind of like, cool story, Yeah. So, it's definitely. But Poltergeist to me, they're just like every time I watch it, there's something new to explore. And I don't know, there's just something, there's the family aspect of it. I feel like it's the most beautiful, but also realistic depiction of family love and life that I've seen in any movie ever. Stephen and Diana's like moment right before she steps through the closet, just like, it's beautiful. And I'm like, I didn't think Craig T. Nelson was attractive, but now I do.
See, we're looking back and we're picking it apart to a 12-year-old.
Right.
You're like, look, the effects were not good and all this stuff. And it's just like, whatever.
Yeah, today.
Man, I couldn't find the right GIF for it because I wanted to tweet this the other day, but so I've gone back to the office recently and, pandemic body changes. Every time I try on a pair of pants that I hadn't worn since before the pandemic, I feel like Diane when she knocks on the door and opens it and the poltergeist thing comes out and she's like, I'm sorry. And that's me every time. I try on pants and I'm like, I'm sorry that I thought I could. So you've gotten me dictating the tweet that I wasn't able to make. Point being, poltergeist kind of lives in my heart.
This is way better than a tweet, though. Now, speaking of family and kids and step family, all of that good stuff, is your family, are they supportive of your writing? Do they, whether they read your stuff or whether they just give you the time to be able to write and do your thing?
Yeah, I mean, from my nuclear family standpoint, of course, 3-year-olds really don't care. So that's kind of writing around his schedule, which is fine, you know, right? He's kind of awesome, though. I agree. Yeah. But my husband has been good about, he doesn't read fiction, period. And he definitely doesn't read horror. Back when we were dating, he used to go to horror movies with me. But when I realized that like they were just like they're very tense for him and they're just like physically uncomfortable. And when I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is supposed to be fun. So, you know, now I go by myself and it's fantastic. But yeah, he's supportive of making sure that I have my time to write. Yeah, my siblings are both like big cheerleaders, and their spouses are as well. And all my nephews and nieces and yeah, so I mean, my family's good about that. And my mom's a writer, you know, so she's very proud of that too. So yeah, I have a supportive family for sure.
Oh, that's
your
good.
mom's a writer. Oh,
that was my next question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other writers?
Nikki's show. You can do it.
No, it's good. It's good. Sometimes it's nice, you know, even though it's hosted on my channel, to get to sit back and just listen and really, you know, take it all in and get to know these fantastic authors that are, celebrities that are on here, because that's what you guys are. At least to, you know, the bookworms, the avid, crazy bookworms that always have their nose stuck in a book. Absolutely. Well,
I'm one of those. That's me. I'm a bookworm.
So you get to be the both. Best of both worlds, and you get to be the celebrity and the bookworm. Which is probably why I always see you on there cheering on other authors on Twitter and stuff too, right? Because they're your celebrities too. They
are, and you know, the other thing is, like, so Jonathan Jans is another person who probably gets tired of me, you know, talking about him, but he one of the things that he's so good about, and I read, he was one of the first authors that I read, you know, like found through the community and started reading. And I read The Dark Game early on. And I just like, that man can write some vicious, vicious scenes, you know, but he's also like one of the best people in the world. And one of the things that really like comes through with that, it was in The Dark Game, was that there can be this attitude about writing that's like, there's no room for anybody else, you know, like we have enough. Ugh, not another writer. And I really dislike that attitude. We were all new once. Every one of us started once. And Jonathan is very like, no, you know, and that came through in the book. It was very much like, hey, no, you know, welcome, tell your story. And to my way of thinking, if every person on this planet wants to write their story, I cheer that on. I'm a reader. I love having the writing. And I met, there was one of my coworkers' daughters, like honed in on me at an office party. They said she was going to, she's like 11 or 12 maybe. And because she wanted to talk to me about writing, she'd already started, she's writing fantasy. And, you know, it was just such a fun conversation because she was very like, she was all about it. You know, I answered her questions and everything. And afterward, I just thought, I was like, you know, you're damn right. I'm coming up and there's an 11-year-old behind me. We're not going to stop. You know, there is room for everybody. And that's, I don't know, that's one of the things that I really encourage. I think I think it's a thing I see with reviewers sometimes too. Like, and I'm not saying that's everybody. I don't want to be in everyone's head, but sometimes I've seen reviewers be like, oh, I'm not a writer. I'll never write. And then it's like, oh, I have this story. That's dumb. I should never write. And it's like, no, your words are as important as anyone else's. And reviewers, I feel like people who've done that for quite a while have a really good process and a really good eye for, you know, what's gonna be palatable, what's going to be readable, what's going to be attractive to readers. So I don't know. If you want to write, I think everybody should write.
Yeah, I love you, Brad. Did you hear what she said?
You're over there changing your name.
I keep seeing him change his name. He did it once while we were getting really deep there too, and I didn't want to say anything because I was like, that's gonna ruin everything.
No, you know what? I'm a multitasker too. I get it. He was probably listening. I'm sure he was listening.
Oh, I was listening. Trust me, I was listening.
Oh yeah.
What does your mom write?
She writes. She started out with sci-fi, and she writes mystery thrillers.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
She's got a good mix. I like sci-fi. I like mystery. I like thriller.
I actually kind of like debated when I got my first contract for Whispers in the Dark. I was like, do I want to write under Laurel Hightower, or do I want, to set up my own thing? And at the time I was like, it'd be kind of cool. I'll be Laurel Hightower. And it just hasn't like been a thing, but it was really funny because we both ended up booking. So I'm going to be at the Imaginarium convention next weekend in Louisville. If anyone wants to come hang out. But we had both been tapped for it and just somehow never brought it up with the other one. And then it turns out, there's 2 Hightowers on the list and whatever. And there was all this confusion with her. And I'm like, we should probably communicate better about this stuff. I guess this might come up. So bizarre first world problem.
Let's get deep again. Do you feel like you're in your mom's shadow when it comes to? I'm kidding. I don't. Are you trying to impress everyone else or your mom?
Not really trying to impress anybody.
I'm just totally messing with you. You don't have to
but in a transfer that I'm not trying. I don't think I'm trying to impress.
As soon as this is over, she's gonna be cussing me like crazy. Like, damn it, never again.
No.
So that kind of goes with another question I have. Do you write for yourself, or do you have like a target audience in mind when you write your pieces?
I mostly write for myself. It's been a little bit interesting the last little bit because I have been, again, when I say I'm a lucky writer, I'm very serious about that. I've gotten a number of anthology invitations, which is, that's so huge. That's so wonderful. That people feel like that I'm a voice that they want to include. That's just, it's a big thing for me. It's really huge. I really appreciate it. But it also has meant that I've written, it's like, well, you've got this topic, and I didn't necessarily have like a idea download for myself, right? To decide to write this short story. So some of it has been, in that sense, I think I write for other people because I want to justify the person's faith in me. But I'm always like very, when I get asked, I'm always like, okay, but if it sucks, turn it down, just kick it to the curb. And I hope they do. I don't want anyone to ever, grab one of mine, just because they think it would hurt my feelings. But yeah, for the most part, when I'm writing, and I'm really excited to get back to some longer works now, to get into the novella that I'm working on. And there's 2 other novellas that I've got in the hopper that I want to work on. And that stuff is pretty much always for me, especially first draft kind of thing. After you start feeding it through the grinder, you got to kind of pay attention. And I'll say one of the things that I'm worst about, especially with the longer stuff. I love romance. And a lot of times I have, a romantic couple in what I'm working on, and we were like Silent Q was so bad about it. I was so in love with that couple. It was like ridiculously hugely about them. And like some of the first feedback I got was like, okay, you're going to discount that back. And it's, but I realize as a writer that not everyone is going to be as invested in that. So yeah, I write for me, and I write my little romance and all that kind of stuff. And then you kind of got to make it more palatable.
And then we get to enjoy it. I've got book leather. What was astonishing to me about Crossroads was the way you made me emphasize with something you would usually find completely unbelievable. I felt like I was getting sucked down a hole of sympathy.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's very true. It's like she said, it's very saddening and gut-wrenching, but it is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks. And I think a lot of that, thank you, Dana. I think a lot of that, from a process standpoint, it has a lot to do with, like I said, I usually start with a character. And what I usually do is I have these little tiny notebooks that I carry around so that, like, if I get a thought, I don't lose it. And what I will do when I'm writing like a longer piece of fiction is I will just spend some time being in that character's head, kind of writing their backstory a little bit so that I get a feel for how they would react to certain situations. Because Chris is, she is specifically geared to go down the hole that she does. She is set up to do that way. And it's, not the best for her. But she's just geared to it. That's how she's been trained. She probably couldn't have gone any other way. But I really had to kind of get inside her head and kind of establish that to see what choices she would make.
So if you were to meet any of your characters, what would you say to them?
I'd probably apologize profusely.
That's always a loaded question I like to ask people.
Rose probably wouldn't be quite as mad. Oh, a favorite character. Oh gosh. You know what? I love Luke in Whispers in the Dark. Poor guy, but I love Luke. He's kind of one of my favorites.
Well, now I gotta read it. I gotta find out who this Luke is. If you were to have Crossroads, and I'm just saying Crossroads because I've read it, if it was to be adapted into film, do you have any of like the cast picked out for the characters in your head?
Well, I mean, for Chris, kind of what I've liked about Crossroads is that it would cater to more like having, an older actress. Because I like to look at love and relationships through like an older lens, So I think maybe somebody like Toni Collette, or
Sarah Paulson.
Oh,
yeah.
I love Sarah Paulson. I think she could play any part. So
Yeah. And I mean, I would love Sandra Bullock, somebody like that who could bring just some gravitas to it, to really just kind of.
Bullock.
Yeah, and I know you haven't read Whispers. I've always loved the idea of Anna Torv for Rose in Whispers in the Dark. That means nothing to you right now, but come back later and tell me later.
Read the book.
What you think.
Read the book.
Hey, Mindy.
She loved Whispers in the Dark, and she says Rose is her favorite.
Thank you. Yeah, I love Rose. I spent a lot of time in Rose's head. That took longer to write.
Hey, James.
Hey, James. Thank you for coming.
I've been trying
read that one out loud.
I've been trying to get her. I think I said it last week sometime that you need to put my name in there somewhere. So.
Well, and I normally don't do that because I don't know what people are gonna feel about it, and I don't want anyone thinking like that, because I would never write something where I wrote that person's personality.
Well, that's not my real name, so
there you go. I'll do a J Maddox. You want me to kill you off? I'll kill you off. You want that?
I would love to. I always tell like Ross, Jeffrey, and a few other ones. I'm like, I want to die viciously in your book. I mean, it's got to be the most gruesome.
Who could really kill you gruesomely is Bo Johnson. Bo would kill you.
Oh. I should have with the little spotlight interview I did with him. I should have asked him what he would have done to me as a character. I love asking authors that. If you were to write me a book, how would you kill me off?
He's so inventive, and I love it too, because I just like I love that it's like it's always just like just over your shoulder. It's like this like, you what now? There's just this. It's like, what? Yeah. It's just his finger in a vice. What? It's so cool. Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi, for giving me another reason to ring the bell and make myself look like a total moron over here.
Thank you, Heidi. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
It's very true. With the Bo, everyone loved the one part in your interview where you were holding up all the props. Everyone was commenting about that. That was the best part ever. He's just too kind. Yeah, that's another one. I haven't been able to read any of Bo's work either. I tell you, I wish that I could like clone myself into like 10 movies, so you could read it all.
And I know there's like so many that I've wanted to get to. I have been like really, trying to like pin down and be like, hey, this is one I've wanted to read for like a long time and get to it. But yeah, Bo's new book, Brand New Dark, coming out this month. I got early eyes on it, and it's fantastic, and I highly recommend it. It is.
It's like he hasn't done any kind of advertising for it. I'm kidding.
No, I know. Who even knows it's out there? But that's mostly Bruce. That's mostly the mannequin anyway. So
yeah.
Yes, Mike, definitely.
Brad's inspiration over here,
Do you have a list, or are you coming up with them as we go?
You just have to put "Love you, Brad," because he always says "Love you, Jay" in every single one.
I already had. Well, I love Brad. Okay, I'll end up with that. That's all.
No, you don't have to. I'm just curious how this is going.
Oh, good gracious. I'm going to come out of here and my stomach's going to hurt. These live shows always make me laugh so much. Okay, somebody else has got to go buy some of Laurel's work so I can ring some more with a bell, okay?
Yeah, we should have had like a little counter on here somewhere.
I'd go do it, but I would order through my phone, and I'm using my phone, so
Right.
I'll have to wait till after the fact. And then I'll ring the bell after. Nobody will be around to hear it, but...
But you'll hear it.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
what matters.
That's what's got. Just like, a tree falls in the middle of a forest. Does anybody hear it?
Silence.
Exactly. Yeah.
We can all contemplate it.
I know, really.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
What else are you reading besides all of these special arcs and ahead of time stuff?
Well, I mean, so Inheriting Her Ghosts, I'm sorry, that is another arc that I read, but it's amazing. It's so S.H. Cooper's release is coming out this month, Inheriting Her Ghosts. It is gothic absolute perfection. It's so atmospheric.
Sorry.
Yeah. Woo! Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful.
I'm loving this. Just keep buying so I can keep bringing it.
Well, the pre-order for Inheriting Her Ghosts is up. And yeah, no, that's just really, really excellent. S.H. Cooper is a very, very gifted writer. I love her little subgenre that she does, and Inheriting Her Ghosts, like it's very atmospheric. It's very like, I don't want to say it's a cozy read, because there were a couple times where I was like, like about throwing my damn Kindle, because like it was scary as fuck. But that one's really good. Red Legault's Dismal Dreams that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
I love it because there's such a voice, like you're reading this thing and it is this writer's voice and it's nobody else's, oh man, Brennan LaFaro's Slattery Falls is coming out this month as well, and that's amazing. That's another really good ghost story. For stuff that's not arcs that I'm reading, and I feel so bad because, like, in case anyone ever like tracks me on Goodreads, it probably looks like I take forever to do things, and I do, but it's because I read all this other stuff in between. But I'm reading Jeremy Hepler's Boulevard Monster. I read Cricket Hunters last year, maybe the year before it, and absolutely loved it. I love Jeremy's work. And I'm also reading House of Skin by Jonathan Jans. Jonathan's stuff has become like almost a comfort read for me, not because it's comfortable, because that's not. Horrible things happen to people. But I can just always count on his writing sort of bringing me into a certain headspace.
Right.
So, I don't know. But yeah, so that's what I ramble with every answer. You're never going to get a concise answer to any question.
Because I'm never reading one book at a time either. So it sounds like you have like 10 at once. So that's
yeah, generally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all readers are like that, You've got multiple. You've got your morning book, your afternoon book, your evening book, your vehicle book.
Yeah, you got to keep one in the purse, and some things you can't read right before bed. So
that's right. You've actually mentioned a couple that I haven't heard of, so you're adding to my list. Listen here, I'm going to make a note right now as we're talking. A question that I like to ask everyone, because I had it come up to me by another author, Robert Otone. He always said to me that he had been asked this and he really enjoyed it. If you were to rewrite any classic, doesn't have to be horror, which one would you choose and what spin would you put on it? Like your little dark spin on it. Some people have put like Secret Garden and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, a dark remake of Secret Garden? I would love that.
Secret Garden's good. That would be nice.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
You weren't supposed to get deep, Nikki. Jeez.
It's not deep. I'm more just trying to think, because it's like, I'm trying to think of like my favorite, like more like classic type books. And I love, I love The Haunting of Hill House, but I feel like the spin that Flanagan put on it was really excellent. I'm not sure that I can improve on that. It's a different story.
Yeah.
It's a totally different story, but I really like how it was done. It really just, brought the ghost to the forefront, which I really enjoy. Man, trying to think of my.
Just side note, that one jump scene, I think in episode 7 or 8 in the car.
Oh God, in the car. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Ooh,
My wife
yeah.
screamed so loud on that. The kids were upstairs. They thought something happened. They came downstairs thinking something happened. No joke at all.
No.
And I'm laughing, like crying, laughing at her screaming like that. And they came down, thought something happened, like somebody broke in or something. So
I guess I might rewrite Wuthering Heights
Ooh.
in a fashion in which I get that the point of the story was obsession.
Mm-hmm.
I do get that, but I would like to see a little bit more strength of character in our female leads. I would like to see, I don't know. Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see what would happen if we were talking about a little bit more confidence and maybe a little bit more, because I like the historical setting. But I'd like to see what would happen with women who maybe had, it's hard to say confidence because it's a matter of the time that they were in. But you know, it's like because I mean, women in my grandmother's generation like didn't get divorced, right? You know, so it's like you couldn't even make that kind of a stand. But if you have that kind of societal support or, you know, those abilities, I would like to see what would happen there, because those are some very interesting characters.
No, I agree. I had everyone saying that I had to read that, and when I tried to read it, they were like, "This is like the best romantic love story ever," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? This is one toxic relationship right here."
I worry about people who think it's a romance. I'm concerned for them and their expectations for life.
That's exactly what I said. I think I had that conversation on the phone with Linda from Linda's World of Books, and I'm like, people are saying this is like the most romantic love story, and here I'm sitting back going, listen, there's something wrong with these characters. This is not romance. This is not a relationship.
I don't care how attractive you find Ray Fiennes, and I understand that adaptation was fantastic, but he's killing some animals on your behalf. Don't do it.
I would love to see that. If you ever do that,
it's so good.
Rewrite, you should do that. I'll have to see that too.
Yeah, yeah. See the one with Ray Fiennes. That's a great adaptation. It's really good.
I couldn't imagine not having all these amazing stories from brilliant female authors. Yes, females.
Yes. Agreed. It's I don't know. That's one of the big things that I really am a proponent of is like really looking, you know, to read diversely, which is something that you do have to do. And I know some people say sometimes like, well, I don't care about the gender or the race or, you know, ethnicity or whatever orientation. I just read the book. But we all know, you go into a major bookstore, you're going to see the same. And hey, Stephen King is fucking fantastic. He's awesome, but he is not the only one out there. So yeah, just I've been thrilled to get that gamut, you know, because when you get stories, that's why I think if everyone on the planet wants to write a story, they should, because they're the only one that can tell that particular story.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you find that indie is really starting to find its calling now, and it's really starting to grow and get noticed, rightfully so?
I do. Yeah. I'm loving seeing all these pictures from people going to Barnes and Noble, where their horror section has really been revamped, and you see stuff from Stephen Graham Jones. And you see, gosh, Eric LaRocca's new one I saw was out there. Yeah. I mean, that is, I don't know. It's such a joy. Like I'm so happy to see that out there, because you've got these voices that just really should be heard, and they should be reaching. You all may have had this experience too, but like, I'm a big reader. I've always loved reading horror. And for the longest time, I just couldn't find much of it. And I thought, damn, I've read it all. You know? It's like, I just run all through whatever's there. And I love that there's this whole other world, and people who are looking for that, and people who were saying, I want to read something by someone from my culture, or from, you know, with my experience, or my anything, where the characters are this, where the characters look like me. People should be able to find that. That's what I love. You know, that's what I want to see. So yeah, the more that can be out there, the more access, the more distribution we get, you know, the better for everybody.
Listen, Chapters Indigo, if you're listening, which you're not, because I'm not that big, please start bringing independently published authors into our large bookstore. Please and thank you.
Do they have Twitter? Do they have Twitter? Nichi, look for them. Yeah.
They do. I'm actually even part of their innovation program that they started, and I keep like, what do you want to see in our stores? And I'm like, indie,
Just
And I keep pushing.
tag him nonstop.
But listen, it's one little voice. It's not going to work. And I know I see so many people that are against it, right? They're saying stop buying from Amazon, stop buying independently published because it's taking away our large published companies, because we've had the two that recently merged. And I'm like, no, don't stop buying indies. Like you can buy traditionally published and indie. You can support both worlds. But for those people that have, tried to get their work out there into the, the larger publishing companies, they need to be heard too. So don't take away that. Just because, publishers may be getting scared because indie's finally getting noticed, and rightfully so.
And they're publishing, I'm not saying that they never pick up great, because there are plenty of mass market stuff that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But they publish safe,
mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Which, hey, it's a money decision. I'm not going to knock it. I get it. But if that is your entire business plan, then we're going to be limited to the same, I'm not going to name it because, whatever, but like I read one of it just sounded so great. It's this mass market one. It was this big book club one. It was fantastic. It had the greatest premise. It was the biggest piece of shit. It was just and I mean, it was just and I was like, man, I'm sorry. This contract should have gone to somebody who could have written something that wasn't.
Well, and it makes you wonder if that's what the author wanted. Or if it was completely changed and, if the cover was taken over and if the publishing company just kind of basically rewrote it. And that's what I always say is publishers, they need their notice too. And authors that go through traditionally published, they need their notice too. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said, their business, they're there to make money, rightfully. Right. So they know what sells and what is popular right now. So they create these cookie cutter pieces to sit on the shelves. But when you pick up one, it's going to be different characters, but the same type of story. Every time you pick up a different one. Or, like the real juicy guts of the story that's, would really consume a reader is going to be removed because it's going to be maybe just a little too out there for what the publishing company wants to do. That's where indie comes into place because you guys publish these raw, original pieces that are unlike anything that you could buy in a larger box bookstore.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier too with social media, because that's how we're getting the words out about, hey, Laurel Hightower. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If I can get 5 people to check out her stuff, I mean, if I do a review of Stephen King, I'm not going to help Stephen King. I'm not going to help Clive Barker. They're famous. They already know that. But
their names are already out there.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I get 3 people say, oh, hey, what's that Laurel Hightower book you were talking about? Go check it out. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a pyramid scheme, maybe they get 3 people and maybe they get 3 people, so.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and it does matter, because at that, there's not been a single book bought or reader that I've gained, whether they hate it or love it. Because, some people, it's just not for them.
Right.
I'm so grateful because what they've granted is their time. Mm-hmm. And that is something that's such a finite thing and everyone has so little of it. So if anybody has taken their time to read my work, I'm vastly appreciative.
Well, and even if you get negative reviews on a piece, they sell. Negative reviews sell. I don't know how many times I've seen somebody even completely trash a book. And I'm sitting back going, well, this isn't a very informative review. But you know what? The book still sounds like it's up my alley. And I've gone to pick it up. And I absolutely loved it. So I was on the complete opposite side of the scale from what that person was saying. So, and I find that people seem to be oddly attracted to negativity. So when you've got negative reviews out there, they sell. They really, really do sell. So
the things you were negative about, somebody else might like.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and that's the thing. There's 2 different kinds of negative reviews too. You can sit there and say this sucked, it was horrible, but not give a reason. Mm-hmm. And then you could actually do an actual in-depth review and say I didn't agree with it because of this, 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 and this. What those 4 or 5 points might be somebody else likes, which is fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. But at least have reasons for it.
Or don't. I mean, the big thing, and certainly in-depth reviews and people who think them out, write them and put the time into it like you guys do. That's immensely valuable. But I'm also I am a proponent of it being a reviewer and a reader space. And if someone just wants to, give me 1 star and say meh, that's their right. They can do that.
Like you
that
have
is
any
how
of
they
those.
do
Come on.
But I mean, I think that the big thing that says to me as a reader, when I look at Goodreads or something like that, that says to me, no one's weirdly policing this. People are being allowed to have their genuine reactions to it. And that makes me feel, if I see a book that's got nothing but 5-star reviews, I'm creeped out. I was just like, is it zombies? Like, what happened here? And if people have it, I just feel like there's some legitimacy that's earned from it. And plus, again, I only ever want people to give their genuine opinion of things. And if they hate my work, then hate it. I'm not gonna read the review. Don't worry.
There's times where I want to go on and I have so much to say about a book, but I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I absolutely loved it. And I want to go on Goodreads and Amazon and just say, I fucking loved this book. Everyone needs to read it, period.
There you go. That's incredibly effective.
Amazon stops you though. I tried.
Yeah,
they
don't like that word.
Goodreads allows you, but Amazon runs Goodreads, so you would think that they would allow it, but they
they always.
I've tried many times. Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't post your review because, and I'm like,
right, because I usually just take my Goodreads and copy and paste it from my Amazon site. Yeah. I forget that I threw F-bombs and shits and bitch and all this stuff in there, and it's just like,
so we don't even notice we're doing it. That's the
right. And then Amazon, I get that email from Amazon. Sorry, we cannot publish your review. I'm like,
we're also personally offended by what you said.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And you should not be allowed writing these anymore. Go away.
It's too funny. And then even if you try to change it, so it's got like this asterisk or something, they still won't take it. You have to completely change the word, and then it just doesn't have the same impact, So Heidi is wondering, authors who you love or who inspire you.
Oh, I feel like I could list it like all night long, but but when I try and think about people, writers whose work has had a legitimate, like measurable effect on what I do, I would definitely say, and she's going to be like, please stop, Laurel, but Haley Piper, always, she's inventive. She's fantastic. She is truthful. She's genuine and authentic in everything that she writes. I think she's just amazing. And Stephen Graham Jones is another one that I feel like, in reading what he reads and in reading what he says about his writing, it's helped me to be more brave in what I put out there. Sarah Tantlinger is another one who is just really very talented and she's very knowledgeable. Violet Castro is just completely kick-ass, and all of the things that she does, and she just puts so much of herself in it. And it's just jumps off the page. And Gemma O'Moore, she just puts this heart and this beauty in there. And Sina Paleo. See, I could go on forever, but Sina's work is just her poetry, and I loved Children of Chicago. And I'm spoiled because it's all of these books, all of these writers have an effect on me. They have an influence on my words. They have an influence on the way that I see the world. I'm lucky.
Yeah, even just to inspire you to write. You read. It's like even just sitting here talking with you guys, talking about other people's work, talking about books we've read that we really, really liked. It just makes me want to jump into my next read as soon as we get off here, right? It really inspires you and gets you pumped to jump into another world.
Your next read is Whispers in the Dark, by the way.
I gotta get my hands on it. Dana, I have to take a moment to stop at this comment here, because she says, we've all read those books and they looked and sound amazing, but we're no good, and then we're out over $20 for hardback. I'm sorry, did you say $20 for hardback? Really? That's it? Our hardbacks are almost $50.
Oh, good God.
Listen, that's it.
We've had this conversation, Nikki. No, Nikki, we've had this conversation before. $50 for you, with $5 for us.
Man, honestly, you get these books that come out and they're just a new release and you're so excited and you go to buy it and it's only in hardcover or e-copy and the e-copy is like $17. So you think,
Yeah,
well, I might
that's
as well get the hardcover, and then you look at the price and you're like $45.
I love seeing an e-copy for $17.99, but the paperback's $13. What? No.
And that's it. I don't know so much that I'm sure depends on the cost for the publisher and things like that. But I'm like, an ebook, how much did that cost? How much does once you've got it formatted and once you've got it in there, like it's pure profit. I'm saying that like I know anything about it. I don't. For all I know, there's some crazy fee. I don't know.
Well, I've had authors tell me that they make more money off of ebooks because there isn't the whole cost of the printing and everything like that, right? So
I can see that.
Ebooks are great. Although for the Bookstore Grammar and me, I'll buy the e-copy, but I will also go and buy the physical copy. And then I also usually go and buy the audiobook if it's out there. Because I need to have a physical copy to be able to take photos with, to be able to feature in photos, right? Well, thank you, James. Kindle and Nichi have gotten me into indie books. I'm flattered. Read more indie. I've got lots of recommendations for you, James. I know you keep saying that I've already recommended enough, but I've got more. We've got lots. Book blather. So true. The next book on my list is a book that 2 people said don't read. Just makes me want to read it. Now I'm curious to know what book that is.
Yeah.
Is it the Chandler Morrison one?
Dead Inside?
Is it that one?
I can't talk about that. Nikki.
I think that's the only book I've ever had somebody tell me don't read.
It seems to be so polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Erica. Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, I would move to the US just to be able to buy cheaper books, but we have really good healthcare.
I told you I would go to the border and throw them over the border for you. But.
Yeah, just give us some syrup, or I don't know.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we have surpassed that hour mark, and I know everyone is. Yeah, an hour and 21
for an hour and 21. Yeah.
And I know everyone's busy, and we've just been absolutely blessed to have Laurel come on and chat with us and have a really good time, have some fun laughing moments and some real deep moments.
Do we have time to get deep again?
You got one more for me?
No, I won't. I won't. No, I won't really.
Brad's stunt double. It's good though. I love these chats that have just like this wave of emotions and conversation. It makes the time fly by because I didn't even realize that we had surpassed that hour mark, which is fine, but I know everyone's time is precious. So if anyone doesn't have any other questions in the comments, I would like to let Laurel go because this is her Friday night too. And the little one's in bed and she gets to sit back and relax or maybe read or maybe do some writing. I don't know.
There's somebody in that window behind you, by the way.
Oh, man.
Oh, maybe they'll come in. Maybe they'll come in and watch a horror movie with me.
That would be great. If somebody just popped up and just said, hey.
Oh, it's just the neighbor.
That's not how I would have reacted if somebody said that. I would have been like, what? Shit.
Don't turn around.
Don't turn around.
Well, then you have to turn around.
I got skulls and eyeballs behind me. I'm just making sure nobody has a question here. Oh, we're going to have to make that a thing now, I think.
Every time we say that, just pop up a picture.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much, everyone, for coming into the chat. You guys just rocked it. The chat was just nonstop tonight. And thank you, Laurel. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us.
Thanks, Laurel.
Yes. Thank you, everyone who came and joined in on a Friday night, and thank you all so much for having me. I appreciate it. This has been. I love watching your all shows, and it's been fun to be a participant this time. That's great.
Oh, well, you are welcome anytime. And I know Brad was upset that he couldn't come tonight. He let me know today. He said he'll let me know like last minute, and he messaged me. He's like, I can't. Maybe she'll come on again. I'm like, she probably would.
There's another show we could probably get her on. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got a new one, doesn't he?
He does, doesn't he?
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. He's got a new one, right?
Yeah.
He's got a new one.
So I'm sensing a little bit of emotion here, man.
No, I'm just saying that Yeah. What's the show called, Nikki? What is Brad's show called?
Oh, Paper Cuts. Paper Cuts,
Yeah,
who also
I mean,
has Brad stunt double too.
Yeah, I mean, just some other guy that just hangs out in there too. Just,
And I knew that. And I was like, oh, it's
Wowzers.
Brad's show, isn't it?
yeah.
Jay, what do you think of Brad's show? Isn't it so good with Brad?
And I think we had an opening in August that we were going to ask somebody, but I don't know about it now.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe you should ask that, Jay Maddox.
Jay, what do you do to just blend into the background? And become invisible?
Jeez. I have like the lowest sub count of all of you. And it's like I created the show. It was my idea.
Oh,
and it's just like whatever.
Look, it's this thing. I told you I'm awkward, and there it is. I managed to walk right into that. So my bad, Brad. Stunt double.
You gave me a good giggle. I'm sorry. That was the best part of the night right there.
Just pile it on. Come on.
We're always bugging Jay like that.
I can take it. I can take it. Yeah.
Back.
I don't give it. No, I'm so nice. What are you talking about? I don't.
All those Canadian jokes. Yeah. That's too funny. Jay, now you're going to have to go and make your own show. Just you.
I know.
Just Jay.
Show number 3 for me, okay? Let's see how many I can just collapse myself.
Yeah, Mindy wants your autograph. Brad stunt double. Love you, Jay. So that being said, we are definitely here to support and chat and to give all the love to Laurel. But, just because, head over to Jay Maddox and give him a sub.
Yeah,
like
do it.
Said.
Keep saying that, but no, you don't have to.
But bring it, but no. But stop it, no.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with everything you say, but no.
Because like he said, he's got the lowest sub count, and he shouldn't. He's freaking hilarious. And go and buy Laurel's work if you didn't during this show, so I could ring the bell.
We really need to have a counter next time when we do this.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Or if you go and pick up some of her work, send me a message, and I'll have to pop up a video of me or something on Twitter.
Ringing the bell.
Yeah, really.
We'll get you a GIF. We'll make you your very own GIF. Ringing the bell.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you, Laurel, so much. Thank you, Brad Stunt Double, for joining us since Brad couldn't be here. And thank you to everyone in the chat. It has been wonderful, and we are gone.
Love you, Brad.